Welcome to Therapists Say, the podcast where we talk about real life, real feelings, and the stuff everyone's dealing with, but no one really explains. We're here to make mental health make sense, keep things honest, and remind you that you're not the only one trying to figure it all out. Therapists Say is brought to you by Full Circle Therapy and Inner Wellness Therapeutic Services. Let's get into today's episode.
And welcome back to another episode of Therapists Say. I'm your host, Mel. I'm the other host, Liz.
I'm your co-host, Barry. I'm impressed by how you do it the exact same way every time.
Isn't it so good?
Yeah, it really is. Like,
I know, I chat.
Like, literally, you say it, and I'm like, it's exactly the way it is every time. That's pretty good. You know, I don't have this in shrink wrap, but one of the things I wanted to talk, like, I meant to do it a couple weeks ago, because now we're at the end of February, right? Like, how is everyone doing with their, like, goals for the new year? You're kicking ass.
I'm a star student.
Well, I'm your accountability partner.
Did I have a goal? I don't think I had a goal.
That's most people right now after New Year's. They're like, did I have a goal? No.
I don't think I made a goal. Well, I'm a star student.
You are.
Oh,
you are 100%.
Getting all the sleep. I had 9 hours of sleep yesterday. So
that's excellent. All right, cool. I am also doing well. Like, my goal was to be kinder.
Oh.
Not that you guys are asking.
I was going to be like, yeah, nobody asked about your goals.
Right. I tried to, like,
open it up.
Yeah, open it up. And you guys are just like, did Barry have a goal? It was to be nicer, kinder. Actually, to be kinder. And I feel I've been doing really well at it. Mm-hmm. Like, not constantly, but I've definitely been kinder to students.
What about Stephanie?
Yeah, I think I was pretty. I mean, you can check with her, but I think I was pretty kind today. Yeah. Well, I did, like, when I got here a little early, and I said she's mushy. Like, because we were talking about types of therapy she's learning about in grad school, and she likes Adlerian. Yeah. And Adlerian is very, like, you are responsible. You need to look at yourself, which I am. Mm-hmm. But we all know I'm a heartless bastard, right? So, like, it makes sense for me to be Adlerian, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't see her that way. And I said that. I was like, I don't really see you as choosing Adlerian because you're mushy. Like you're she's like, what's mushy? You know, sensitive and emotional. Like I've seen her, like, she's, sensitive. But yeah, that's what so then I came out of like, a little while later, I came out and I said, if I said anything rude or if I was rude, I apologize. And she said I wasn't at all, but I still being kinder. I wasn't trying to be mean. I was literally just being
having a conversation.
Right. And just being mean is mean sometimes. Apparently I'm very intimidating and whatever people say, but yeah. So I feel like I've been kinder to students. I've been kinder to Stephanie. I've been kinder, like, to homeless people. I've given, like, dollars, like if they're standing at the corner, I used to just ignore them, and now I've been giving them a couple dollars.
What do you think has contributed to this?
I think it's just a goal. I'm just trying to be kinder. It's like, I'm trying to be
intentional. Yes.
You think it was the mushrooms?
That's exactly where I was going with this.
Maybe.
Yes.
I guess it's possible, but I don't think so. I mean, maybe it had some profound effect on me, and I'm like, that I was unaware of. Yeah. Even though I had a very negative experience, but yeah. Okay. Maybe it is possible. I am open to that possibility. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a lot of shrink wrap. Okay. Do you guys have any shrink wrap? Because I have so much shrink wrap. I feel like I have like 4 or 5 shrink wrap.
I have one thing.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
We got a comment that said they wanted to know what my Michael Bublé lobby conversation was about. So,
did was that the comment I sent you? I should not have sent that.
Yes,
I swore if it was on YouTube, I wasn't going to send it. But that's part of me being kinder. Wow. It's the fucking mushrooms. Yes. Oh, by the way, if you want a clean version of this, it doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist.
Sorry, there are curse words in this week's episode.
This is for 18 plus, no children, please. We haven't hired staff yet to make a clean version.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know, like, I want to tell my story because you guys don't look very enthused to hear.
Did you have a conversation in the lobby about my blood?
When she went to Canada,
When I
like,
went
the
to
tour manager, and she didn't believe it was the tour manager.
I've already heard
We
this
covered this
story,
2
but-
weeks
right.
ago. I didn't hear the story. I just heard that part. Right. She didn't tell the
You just
story.
called him a liar.
It actually was the tour manager. And I didn't believe the lobby guy that said it was the tour manager. He was like, talk to the tour manager. I'm like, no, you're a liar. And then at the end, like when I was literally leaving Canada, I saw him with like a band and like a sweater that said
Tour manager.
Michael Bublé, like tour or whatever. So anyway,
He was definitely the tour manager. He had a T-shirt that said
it was when I originally saw him, he didn't have the t-shirt on. When I saw him at the end of my stay in Canada is when he had the t-shirt on.
Right. I was joking.
Oh, that was too.
Yeah, I was piggybacking on Liz's joke about the T-shirt, and then, because that doesn't prove anything. It's just a T-shirt. But no, it was him.
Don't argue
was-
with her, please.
I'm not arguing. I was explaining the joke.
He had band equipment. Okay, whatever. Moving on.
Why?
With your thought. Oh no, you have follow-up Michael Bublé questions.
I do not. I do not.
We think, girls.
I have been. People have literally been telling me they like Procini sourdough. She likes Michael Bublé, and I was
Thank
like,
you.
she's like, don't be too disappointed. And I think I said too late. Like, I'm very disappointed. But the cinnamon buns make up for
You
everything.
like Michael a little more. He likes hockey. He does.
Okay,
He like
Cool.
owns a hockey.
right.
Yes.
I know. Yeah,
Okay.
he's part of. I think I sent you that.
I knew that.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry.
course.
There's no information I could possibly give you about Michael Bublé.
Oh.
Right? Probably not. Like,
Mhm.
you're a super fan of Michael Bublé, and I
So not.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't-
Okay, let's get into your shrink wrap.
All right. So the first thing I have actually came from you,
Mhm.
which was, did we spend enough time on combating codependency?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a tough one. I mean, I think we say this every episode, like that could be a whole other
Mhm.
episode. And sometimes we come back to it and sometimes we don't.
Mhm.
I think we did cover it a little bit.
I think we did.
So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, right? Like, if I were going to give like a sentence or two of advice about combating codependency, I think it has to do with anxious attachment. I think it's to be with somebody that's secure enough to reassure you, but to also challenge your need for reassurance all the time. I think it's to create a life of your own. One of my clients actually gave me the best definition of codependency. Like, she was talking about something in her life, and she said it's when someone's whole personality centers on their partner's addiction. I mean, this was dealing with like
Addiction, yeah.
she has addiction in her family, and she was talking about someone else that's codependent in her family. And yeah, she was like, that person's whole personality is about this other person's addiction. And that is where codependency came from.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
the origin of it is addiction, like the one person is dependent and the other codependent. And we've broadened it since then. But I think it is like figuring out what you want in life, right?
Mhm.
Like, to combat codependency. Like, what do I want? Who am I? Who do I want to be?
Mhm.
Rather than basing everything on this other person. I think that would be the quick advice.
Yes.
Do you guys have any other advice to combat codependency?
When I brought it up to you, and I was like, oh my God, did we talk about this enough?
Mhm.
And then I started playing back the episode and what we talked about. And I think we did. I think we talked about how sometimes we might have certain thoughts and that may lean more codependent. And as long as you're able to catch that
Mhm.
and try to center yourself again.
I agree. And, I think everybody knows by now that listens to this podcast, my approach is very much thoughts are just thoughts,
Mhm.
diffusion from act therapy. You don't have to listen to your thoughts. You have to just recognize them as thoughts. So when you're having these kind of codependent thoughts,
Mhm.
recognizing them and
Yeah.
and just letting them be and not
Mhm.
acting on them. Right. Like we were talking.
Right.
I feel like we did talk about
Yeah.
that from both sides,
I
right?
think we-
Like both kind of anxious, attached / codependent and avoidant.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So that's 2 of the 5 because I gave the definition. That was 1 of the 5. Going back a little further, Sabrina had called me and we had a conversation. Sabrina also listens to our podcast and she's a friend of ours, right? And she said she has her and her husband have very different definitions of work wife / husband than we used in that episode. Sorry. She felt we were giving more like emotional attachment to it than she has ever given. Like she has admitted she's had work husbands in the past, like before she got married, all of that, but she never felt an emotional attachment to that. And she felt we were giving it more of a emotional attachment definition. I kind of argued that I was speaking for men. And I think with men, it does have more of an emotional attachment. Like the work wife has more of an emotional attachment because men tend to not talk to other men about their problems often. They talk to women friends, right? Because sometimes guys can be guys, right? And there's like this, I don't know, what is it? Toxic masculinity that if you're a guy and you tell me your problem, I'm just going to bust your balls.
Right.
So men I know I have probably in the past been more likely to talk to a female about my personal issue. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think you guys, like I explained why I went more emotional attachment. Why do you think you guys did?
No, well, I definitely went more emotional attachment because of the guy's perspective on it. Like, I feel like once you're having intimate conversation, I'm not using intimate as saying sexual, but it's just like sharing how you feel with someone else. I think it's easier to blur the lines.
I think for men more than women.
Right. And I don't want to I don't want to completely say that it doesn't happen for women because it can, but maybe it could send the wrong message to the guy.
I think Sabrina's argument was also she wasn't really talking to these men about her. Like they had her back at work about work things. She didn't really talk to them about personal problems. And her husband said the same thing.
And that I could see it from that point of view because I feel like Joe works with a lot of women, and I could pretty much bet my life that he's not talking to them about any of his problems or being emotional with them. And so I could see that.
Okay.
But I think when we were talking about it, we were talking about.
No, you're kind of saying what I said in reverse, though. Like maybe it's just me, but I would have, I will talk to a woman if I have an issue with a partner. I mean, no, I'll talk to a guy about that because men like to complain about their partners, right? Like that's something you can do. But let's say I was going through something different. I might prefer a female to talk to the male. Right. But you're saying Joe doesn't do that.
No, I don't. Joe doesn't do that with women or men.
Right.
I don't think he's out there.
Right.
He keeps more to himself
in
terms of his personal life. So for example, in Joe's situation, I could see where a work wife would be more somebody that
has his back at work.
Yeah.
And that's it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I could see it. I think intimate conversations can be emotionally charged. But not always. Yeah. Well, then that blurs the lines, right?
Okay. I don't know. There's one thing I have that I guess was from the Valentine's Day, but I don't remember why I wrote it. But I was just talking about choosing to love, because that had come up, right? I feel like we kind of said that and we didn't elaborate on it enough about love being a behavior, an action, and a choice.
Yeah.
We started talking about that at the end. I think it was close to the end, maybe not the end, but I did. One thing I wrote is I've heard a lot lately on podcasts about the most generous interpretation, and I tell that to my clients a lot. And I know I found with couples that are having problems, they rarely give the most generous interpretation.
Right.
It's he's evil, or he's doing this, or he's a narcissist, or she's this.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's rarely the most generous interpretation.
Yes.
Mhm.
But I think that's important. Like choosing to believe the best about your partner rather than the worst. I feel like after a while we start to see them more negatively, I guess. I don't know.
100%. Yeah.
What do you think of that, Liz? Like putting you on the spot too much?
I agree.
Right. Well, you can just give a thumbs up every couple of minutes. No, I'm kidding. I was kidding. There's somebody in a group I do that's his thing. Like, just be like, cool. All right. Also from the Valentine's Day episode, which was the last episode 2 weeks ago, another super fan reached out to me about having to buy the teachers Valentine's. Remember when we were talking about like you two were both on Give Kids Valentine's
But you know what?
team and I was not. But now it's
Did
like
you change your mind?
No. I'm fine with that. But the whole teacher thing,
I didn't give any of the teachers there.
I did not give any.
No.
And I love teachers. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
Like Zine, I cannot do their job. Like I have a lot of patience. I think as therapists we have a lot of patience, and but that type of patience to deal with 20 plus children for hours at a time, like I think they're amazing, and I love teachers so much.
Right.
That's what
And they're underpaid.
Oh my god.
Definitely underpaid.
Yes. They deserve all the raises in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
But Sienna, for example, has 6 teachers, like for all the different subjects. Then Leilani and Blake have 2. Each, like, then it really gets out of control. It gets out of control. And I wish that I had the mental capacity to be able to like collect gifts for all these people throughout the year. But I'm like a last minute kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's
I mean, this goes back to my argument about it's not Christmas,
Right.
right? It's supposed to be about lovers,
Mm-hmm.
Saint Valentine, marrying people that he wasn't supposed to marry because of war.
Yeah.
And here we are. We have to give everybody Valentine's. Like,
Right.
who will it be next?
Yeah.
You know?
Like I remember Blake, I think in kindergarten, he asked me, he was like, "Can I take my teacher flowers?" Like he asked
Yeah,
me.
that's cute.
And I was
Sweet.
like, absolutely. And like we went and he picked out flowers and he took it to his teacher.
Because he was crushing on her.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with her. And she deserves that. She was the best teacher. But no, it puts like an additional thing on my plate, and we have teacher appreciation week.
Right. Yeah. And they do something every day for teacher appreciation week.
Yep, and they deserve it.
Well, I'm not bashing it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just pointing out another example of it outgrowing what it was for, you know? All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was a kid, like, I think we brought Valentine's to school and you probably had to give everybody in the class one.
Yeah, I mean-
Well, make one kid.
Yeah. My kids still have to.
And I think that's fine. Maybe if your kid has a crush on somebody, let them just give that person one. But then somebody ends up feeling left out. And I hate that kids have to experience that. But
That is a core memory.
oh, now I feel horrible. You didn't get a Valentine?
No, like in elementary school, the school would do this thing where you like pre-ordered little like carnations.
Oh my God. Yep.
For
Yeah. I didn't get either.
yeah, and so like the boys would give like the carnation.
They were like sweethearts.
Mhm.
It was like
Used
a
to be
flower.
sweethearts back in my day.
Oh, back in my day, it was like one
Carnation.
carnation. And honestly, I think this is why I hate carnation so much to this day. Don't spit out your coffee.
I wasn't expecting it. Like you hate a flower.
Yes. So it had like a little card attached to it, and it would say like to blank from blank, and like so the boys and the girls would like fill out, and the parents had to pay $1 for every carnation that they would like give out.
Reasonable.
Yeah. So then
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
$1.
So then on Valentine's Day, somebody would like come knock on the door with like a basket full of the carnations, and they would sit there and like read out like, oh, like Melissa, whatever. And then like Susie over here would have like incarnations. So she was like the popular girl.
Mhm.
And then you have Melissa with 0.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
then
that's-
1 year after that,
Mhm.
one of the boys' parents, I'm going to shout him out, my placenta.
Oh, really?
Yes, his parents made sure to buy for every single girl.
Oh,
And it like had like from Mike to like all the girls.
Maybe he was just taking a shot with everybody.
Maybe. But it made me happy. And it like
that's really sweet.
lives in my heart because I
Yeah.
spent like a solid 2 years.
I'm sorry I took the cute story and made it awful. I'm sorry.
Crazy. Well, whatever. I didn't let it ruin Valentine's Day.
Okay. All right, good.
But I don't like her.
Okay. All right. One last strength wrap, unrelated to anything in the last few months, anyhow. I hadn't seen Veronica, my neighbor, that is going to guess what. Right, we forgot all about that, right? Like it disappeared. I haven't seen her because my schedule changes every semester, and I've been up. This is a very early morning semester where I have to get up super early. I didn't see her, but it's spring break, so I ran into her, and I think Friday because my classes had quizzes, and she's like, "You never answer." Like I sent it in December. She had sent the questionnaire, but I guess my filter
missed
put it in junk, and
Oh no.
I had no other way of knowing. So anyhow, she sent it. I gave her my email again to make sure she had the right email and my phone number so she could text me when she sent it. And she did. And I answered it last night, and we will see hopefully in the next couple of weeks if she guesses correctly.
Yeah.
I had to answer a bunch of questions. I think there were 30 questions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thorough.
Yeah, very tough questions to answer. Like when I'm most proud of myself, what am I proud of? And then it would be like creativity in this. You know, I think I answered probably along the lines of being consistent. I did ask her, do you want me to bounce this off someone who knows me? And that was my plan, was to like run these answers by somebody that feels they know me. And but it was a Google Doc, and when I submitted it, it just disappeared. And that was the end of it. And I told her I couldn't do that, which I kind of didn't want to do.
Right. What a sweet.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to just answer the best I could. So yeah, that was it. So hopefully in a couple weeks or a month,
gets it right.
another month, we will know if there's any science to this, I guess. I'm still on team no.
I hope she gets it right.
Just for the principal, I hope she gets it right.
Right. So
Question time.
right. So earlier today in this podcast, I said sometimes something comes up and we feel like it can be a whole new episode, and then we do an episode, and that's one of those, right? So a while ago, a month or a few episodes ago, Tracy, one of our super fans, had asked a question, which I'm going to read now. And that's what we're talking about today, right? So her question is, in relationships, family, lovers, friends, where conflict or harm has occurred and forgiveness has been extended, many people continue the relationship while privately carrying resentment. From a psychological perspective, how common is this experience? How can someone differentiate between true forgiveness and emotional suppression? And what steps help resolve lingering resentment in a healthy way?
Love this question.
Yeah.
I think the first thing I want to say about this is that I feel like forgiveness is a decision and a choice that you make, but then you need to do the work to heal and go through that process to be able to fight against the resentment. And that whole part is the healing process. And once you finally feel like you've healed and you've accepted it and you've found resolution, I think then that's when forgiveness feels better. But it's a process.
Okay.
And it's not something that just happens because you forgave.
Right. Or you just said it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's really about being honest with yourself of what you actually do need. Because I think a lot of the times we may know what we need to get over something, to accept something, but we're not honest about those things, or maybe like with whoever it is that we're having a problem with. I feel like during conflict, people just want it to be over. And I think that's when things become resentful and stay like hidden under the rug because somebody really doesn't say what they meant to say, or everything that is upsetting them. But I think being honest on what it is that is still bothering you is important.
I like what you said about what you need. And I say this to my couples because a lot of times when you get into an argument, you start arguing about other things that isn't the root of the problem. So sometimes I tell them before you start to blame, like a lot of times if I say, oh, you never do this or you, and then the other person comes back with, oh, but you don't do that, you know, and then it becomes like this who's better or who's worse. And it's like this weird thing that it becomes. And so I tell them, what is it that you're asking for? So you say that first. You say, I need to feel more connected to you, or I don't feel like we're connected, or like that's in terms like of a couple, like when it comes to like a friend or a family member or something. Sometimes really what you want is just an apology, but being clear on what it is that you need the apology for. You know?
I'm listening.
See that?
Because, I mean, one of your pivotal statements, I think, is knowing what you need. And I guess I'm of the team that sometimes we think we know, and then that's not enough.
Right.
Right? Like, I need an apology. And then you get the apology, but then you find that that wasn't enough for the forgiveness or the resentment.
So what do you think could be under?
I haven't given, like, I gave this, you know, a minimal amount of thought. I wanted to kind of come in here and hear you guys and, like, you know, build from there, I guess.
So something that I had been, when I looked up or did a little bit of research about this question, and it made a lot of sense too, about resentment, is that a lot of times resentment isn't cognitive, that it's physiological. So sometimes someone can say, I'm over it, right? Or it's fine, but I still feel mad, or I still feel like my chest is tight. And so while I was like reading up a little bit about like resentment, is even how EMDR actually is something that can help with these physiological, butchering how I'm talking today.
No, I think you're articulating it well.
Thank you. These feelings, symptoms that we have, because what EMDR does is that it tells your brain, signals neurons and pathways in your brain to talk to each other that aren't, right? So that's why usually we talk about traumatic events. So usually a traumatic event will happen. It gets stored in the brainstem. That's where the emotional part of your brain is. And EMDR, what it's trying to do is activate it with bilateral stimulation. So when I was looking up resentment, a lot of times resentment has to do with a negative memory, has to do not always with trauma, but sometimes it can be traumatizing. And so
maybe little t trauma, maybe not big t.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I think a lot of times we don't think about resentment as such a physiological thing. More so we think we just have to understand it. We think we just have to get over it. But I think technically we would treat those differently.
Right. I mean, the first thoughts I had when I reread the question for today, like I reread it earlier today, was operationally defining resentment and forgiveness. That was my first thought. You guys know I come from an addiction recovery background, and resentment is a huge thing in the recovery world, right? Like our resentments keep us like sick, right? Like resentments are it's actually our secrets keep us sick, but resentments are part of that. So when I think of resentment, like the way I operationally define resentment is old anger. Like you made me angry a year ago, and I'm still, when I think about it, I'm still angry about it. That's resentment to me. Since I think anger mostly comes from hurt, sometimes fear, I think it aligns with what you guys said of you have to work through the pain, right? Like the hurt. Like I have to resolve the hurt for myself, right? Yeah. So I think I guess I'm getting ahead of myself with how to work on resentment. That was one of her questions. I think part of it is dealing with the hurt, like you guys said. I have more to that answer in a few minutes, like a couple techniques that I've helped people with in addiction recovery. Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to hear more from you guys though. Like I could keep going, just saying I'll come back to some techniques. But I was
Yes.
talking about resentment being old hurt and how that
Mhm.
related to you guys working through, like you guys talked about working through the pain.
Oh yeah. That reminded me that I feel like resentment is when you're held captive by the
Mhm.
anger.
Mm-hmm.
Consuming. I
Yeah.
feel like when it's consuming.
Mhm. Right. And you can't, like, my go-to is very much like, get over it. Like, I want to, like, tell people get over it a lot. Obviously I don't, but that's like, unless it's my sister, then I'll tell her to get over it. But that's the feeling that I get inside. And it's just because I know that feeling of like ruminating on something when you've said that you forgave somebody, but it keeps consuming you and you can't stop thinking about it.
This is what I feel like resentment has so much to do with acceptance. Until you accept either the hurt that person caused, or maybe you're not going to get, like, the apology isn't enough. Like, you think I need this apology. And that's when I think, accept people for who they are and what they're capable of. And I don't necessarily mean that in a negative way. Like, sometimes people aren't capable of more or of giving you more
In the moment. In that moment.
right. And I'm not trying to say that completely negatively, but like, I think a lot of times we expect ourselves and other people, and then when we don't get that, we're continue to be disappointed, even in like arguments, even in like disagreements with family, friends, significant others. But I think when you finally accept someone for who they are, then you can kind of move on,
Right.
actually get over it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a very like spiritual quote I hear a lot is I think Anais Nin said it, I saw it recently, that we're always trying to force people to be who we want them to be rather than accepting
Who they are.
who they are.
Yeah. And accepting that they did their best in that moment, like with the resources that they had at the moment.
Like, it wasn't always malicious.
Right.
Right. I think you guys are talking about forgiveness. That sounds like forgiveness, right? That when I can accept this person was doing the best they could with the resources they had at that time. I heard recently a saying that I love. I wrote it in the meditation book that I've been working on forever. And it was, all behavior is understandable with enough information.
Yes.
Yeah. It's such a great
I love that.
mindset, right? Like,
And you have to choose, right? To understand it.
right. And that's one of my techniques for getting rid of resentment is understanding. Like, if I can understand the person, like why they might have done that. Like, most people, like Mel said, are doing the best they can with the resources they have. There's a couple quotes I like about that. One of them is Thich Nhat Hanh. When you plant lettuce and lettuce doesn't grow, you don't blame the lettuce. You look at the soil and the sun
Oh my God, I love
and
that.
the water. Yeah, right. So that person is acting out of their history.
Right.
And then the other quote is Eckhart Tolle, which is, if you had her history, if you had her genetics, if you had her experiences, you would be behaving exactly as she is behaving. Which, like, it's the truth, right? Like, it's what went into that person doing that.
Right.
So yeah, I think if you can really like embrace that mindset, then that can help with forgiveness and getting over resentment, which that's like my number one technique is understanding.
And that's the foundation of how I do couples therapy with infidelity. What I felt helped me go through it myself. And so that's what I try to teach my couples who are dealing with infidelity. It all revolves around understanding, which is why like I use a lot of psychodynamic approach and then social focused are my two main approaches. I wholeheartedly believe that you need to understand to be able to
begin to forgive. Right.
And it's a journey, it's a process, and it doesn't happen by just choosing to forgive.
Right. I think that's important to understand, that it's not just going to happen usually even by like one conversation.
Right.
Not that you have to keep on having the same conversation with the same person, but I think it's more of an internal work.
Right. It's resolving the pain, which is what you guys started with.
Mhm.
And yes, maybe accepting they were doing the best they can, but most people don't want to accept that.
Mhm.
They want to believe this person was malicious.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like that this was a malicious act.
And because it's easier to
Yeah.
sit in that. It's easier to just blame the other person and not be introspective.
Right. And maybe it's part of the reason it's easier is because anger is an easier emotion to feel than hurt, sadness,
Yeah.
even believing like a lot of us believe we wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Right. Like we would have never done that. And, I don't know that we know that. Right.
That's
Like,
important too.
yeah. A big aspect of my teaching and my being a therapist is we don't know what we're capable of until we're in those positions.
Yes.
Right? And maybe your history would have never led to that, but if you had my history, my everything, maybe it would have.
Right.
Like maybe this is how you would be. I don't know. I think you guys are right that a lot of people don't want to let go of it, and because the anger and the resentment serves a purpose, right? Like, what is the purpose it's serving? And some of it is it's easier. I think some of it is they believe it's protecting them from that happening again, right? Like, I can't let this happen to me again. And if I stay vigilant, it will. Yeah, I feel like we covered a lot there. There's a couple of other aspects of her question, and I want to say one other thing about overcoming resentment. But one of her questions was, how common do you think it is? Right? She said, I'll give my opinion last. Which you first, Liz. You have participated.
I am. You guys always do this.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I was doing the opposite of that. I was saying, a little defensive. Do you have resentment toward me?
No. How often does this happen? Like, which part of it?
I think her question was like, from a psychological standpoint, I closed everything.
Yeah, I think it was how often do people forgive but stay resentment? Like,
stay right.
I think often. I think more often than not, people aren't
like genuine about forgiveness.
Right.
They think they forgave or they say they forgave, but they haven't.
No, absolutely. I think it's half the time or more. I think because people really aren't being honest with what it is that they need, what it was like, no, I think
maybe they don't even know.
Yeah.
Like not only like I hear you saying maybe they're not being honest, but maybe also they're just not being honest with themselves. Like,
and I think that's what I mean too.
They're having some defense mechanisms that is keeping them
and not letting their guard down.
Yeah.
Yes. I think people quickly can get defensive. And they don't even know what they need because they're just trying to protect themselves. Like we said, from it happening again or not, or whatever the case is. But I think often people stay resentful.
And honestly, I think in most cases, when you decide to forgive someone or if someone asks you for an apology and usually you say it's okay, or I forgive you. I think in that moment, really haven't forgave them in that moment, right? And that's when you have to really work at it. So I want to say in most cases, the true forgiveness doesn't happen until you're able to understand and accept it, but also gain the trust back from the person that's asking you to forgive them. Because if someone asks you for an apology and you say it's okay, you're hoping or expecting that they won't do the same thing again. But they keep doing it, you're never going to truly forgive them, So it's a process because I think it involves the other person gaining your trust back.
Okay. So it can't happen right away is kind of what you're saying. Like,
I don't think so. I don't think you can.
You have to work through the pain. You have to know, like, I'm going to try to summarize what we've said so far. I'm going to try paraphrasing, right? You have to know what you need. You have to ask for that. You have to work through your own pain, right? Which could take time and most likely will need to take time at the magnitude we're talking about,
Right.
right? Like something I'm going to resent you for
Mhm.
has a certain magnitude to me.
Mhm.
So that's going to take time to work through that pain and that anger, whatever. And the other person has to work at regaining your trust. Big process.
Big process. Well, because I feel like resentment is big if we're, talking about that. Right. Yeah. I keep going to infidelity because that's
your area.
That's what I do
Right.
most of the day. And so it's a long process.
Right. I think I'm putting myself in the listener's shoes right now. Okay, so you're coming at it from an infidelity perspective, and then we're sitting here saying you have to understand that. And that is like really hard, right? Like it would probably be easier like if I if Liz had done something to piss me off and I resented her.
I'm
like
probably
I was really
more general though.
Yeah, I think I was too.
Yeah.
But since infidelity keeps coming up, and this is obviously a huge area where people would have the need for forgiveness and perhaps resentment, asking someone to understand why someone cheated on them. It's like huge.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had couples like flat out just walk out of the room.
Right. When you brought that
when
up.
I bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're not ready.
No.
They're not ready for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's definitely hard for some of them to be able to wrap their minds around it. The couples that I've helped that have been able to stay together and have a beautiful life after infidelity have been the ones that can understand it and will tell you this is why this happened. And I actually have a couple that recently came back just for maintenance, and they have something going on in their life and they're afraid of getting back to the point that they were in when the infidelity happened. But it's so, I'm going to say that it's so beautiful to watch because I'm in the therapist chair. But it's so nice to have them come back and say, we're back because we have this big life event that's happening. And we understand and we know why the infidelity happened back 5 years ago. And we want to make sure that we don't get anywhere close to that again.
Right.
And so for me, that's what it's about. But there was so much trust that had to be rebuilt in the process, both ways. So I know that it works. I know that understanding is one of the biggest parts.
Right. Before I forget, I'm just going to give my second strategy. Again, I come from a addiction recovery background, and in addiction recovery, you have to get over your resentments. Like you have to list them, and then you have to like work at letting them go. And I think the other thing, like I learned this a long time ago from another therapist in addiction therapy, is praying for the person. The basic psychology behind it is cognitive dissonance. Like you can't do one behavior and hold a different belief. So if you keep praying, you're either going to stop praying or you're going to let go of the resentment. Like that's it, right? Like you can't pray for someone and resent them for long. You can do it at first, but if you keep doing that every day, right, one of them has to give. That's cognitive dissonance. Right? Cognitive dissonance is when our beliefs don't match our behavior, we change our beliefs, right? So I'm praying for this person, so I change my belief that I resent them. For people that don't pray, like me, there's a meditation called Metta meditation, right? Metta. I have it tattooed right here, the word Metta, because it's a loving kindness meditation, and it's about like fostering loving kindness. So you start out with like, when you start out with an easy person, like usually your kid or your dog or your pet, whatever. Like you start out with someone easy to love. You meditate on, like you send like these phrases to them, like may you be happy, whatever. Like there's 4 phrases usually. People use different phrases, but it's usually happiness, being well, living with ease. I always forget one, but anyhow, you send that, and then after you feel like love for that person, you bring love to like a mentor, like someone that's helped you out along the way. Then a neutral person, like somebody you don't feel like you barely know, like the Starbucks barista, you know what I mean? Anybody. And then eventually you get to the enemy. Like the enemy is the person you're resenting, and you send them love. And you might want to start out with an easier enemy. You know what I mean? Like somebody you don't resent as much. Yeah. Not the person you're like really in therapy about, but somebody beneath that in your resentment. But you do that meditation over and over and over again if you don't pray. And it's like sending love to that person. Same thing, cognitive dissonance. Yeah. Yeah, those are the two strategies I use when I get a client that has resentment to be workable. Yeah. The other aspect of her question I just looked was Coleman we talked about. How does one differentiate between true forgiveness and emotional suppression? I don't know that we've talked about that yet.
I mean, I think it has a lot to do with what we've talked about. I mean, I feel like I'm relating it to what I said about saying that you forgive someone, but that kind of being just like step one.
Right.
And then having to go through the process, right? But if you don't go through the process, then you're just saying you forgive them.
True.
And then,
So maybe that's just suppression.
Right.
Like, I'm not mad at that person.
Yeah, but not doing the work to truly forgive them.
Right.
Right. Which happens so often. Like, I want to say it probably happens more than not. Where it's
you think it's emotional suppression more than it's actual forgiveness.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
you agree.
Yeah. As 3 therapists talking about this right now, it's easier for us to, dive into the process of healing and forgiving. But more often than not, we're probably saying, I'm sorry, and then it's okay. And then just, moving on with our lives and
suppressing.
It. And
okay.
Yeah, I have a client who something that keeps coming up is, he'll tell me, I can think about, like a bad thing or something, but I can make it go away really quick. And I'm like, wait a second though. What are we really doing with that? Are you just suppressing it? Like, it's okay if you have that thought, that memory. Like, if we actually sit with it for a moment, then maybe we can actually get through it instead of keep on being like, oh no, this came up for me. So like to the dump it goes. Because then I told him, I was like, it's going to keep on coming up. And as emotionally charged each time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the question I was going to ask if we still have time. How have you personally, not as therapists, let go of some offense that you might have resented or needed to give forgiveness for? I know I could go.
I think we could all go.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I feel like her point about suppression versus actual forgiveness is a tough one, right? Like, I think at least a couple people have accused me of suppression, not true forgiveness, where I feel I have worked through the pain and forgiven the person. But people are still like, no, I feel like you're still holding on to that. Now, I don't know if they're right or wrong, right? But it's at least possible that it may be like, I feel like I did the work. You know what I mean? I feel like I've understood. But because there's been people in my life I've amputated, right? That's the term.
I know.
All right. It made you nauseous, I think, like thinking about amputation. But that's what it's called. Like, I've been like this, I'm done with this person. This person's not in my life anymore. And I feel I have worked through any pain associated with the offense that led to that. But did I forgive? I'm not putting the person back in my life. I think that's important, right? Like, I feel I have forgiven them. I don't feel I carry any ill will, yet I'm not going to invite that person back into my life. And when I've been invited back in, I'm like, nah, good.
But that's what I meant by when I said that it doesn't hold you captive. And it could look different for different people. Like, you amputated someone, whereas I maybe still have this person in my life and it looks different. Maybe somebody would say, oh, Melissa is really healed, whereas Barry didn't. But I don't think that's the case. I think we put in a different boundary and we can accept it, and it doesn't hold us captive equally.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah. I think that was important.
Healed.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible. Like, it was multiple. It was different people. One was actually God. Like, we don't have to talk about that. We're going to delete that. Yeah. Well, we should delete it now that you're using the Lord's name in vain during Lent. It's Lent.
I know, you're right. You shouldn't have done that.
Right. Cut that out. It's fine.
We're on a roll.
Or leave it in. That was funny.
Yeah.
God has forsaken you. That was my funniest line ever. I need to bring it up as much as possible.
Oh.
God has already forsaken you, but
yes, but it doesn't hold you captive.
Okay.
I think that is my point.
Trying to reel it back in.
Trying to reel it back in.
I feel like she was going to delete everything in between those two sentences.
I'll try my best.
Well, you can't now because we cracked up when you said it. It's not going to play well.
So I don't think it holds you captive anymore.
I feel that way. I think some people might still feel I'm suppressing. All right.
Okay. But it's about you.
Right. I mean, it's about me, but at the same time, right? It's not about me. Like, we have to accept others' opinions. Like, I know, this week this has happened where a client is like, that's your opinion. And I'm like, yes, my professional trained opinion that you're paying me for. Right. So if someone has an opinion, I want to take it as like, it's at least a possibility. Creating doubt, like we talked about with my avoidance last episode.
Yeah.
That maybe I am avoidant. Perhaps.
In this season. You asked us a question. We answered.
What was the question?
The question.
Totally different. Oh, the personal.
Yeah.
I thought you handled that. Like, I talked about mine and how people have said that.
Yeah.
And you brought up yours, the person still in your life.
Yeah.
But you didn't give it. We didn't give specifics. I'm not giving specifics.
You have not, Liz.
No, I think for me, it has a lot to do with understanding. I think when I finally understood people maybe that I've had issues with in my life is when I was finally able to get over my resentments.
Okay. So we're not giving really personal examples.
No.
I mean, I said I amputated someone from my life, but
I had to understand people.
Right.
In my life.
Right. I think one other thing I thought of when Liz was talking hours ago. No, just kidding. Like a little while ago is Liz was talking about something interesting about the growth that comes. And I was thinking post-traumatic growth. Like, you guys have heard of that, right? Like, something traumatic happens and I come out better for it.
Absolutely.
But not like skipping the work in between. Because people are doing that. And that's like a thing right now in psychology where it's like, just have post-traumatic growth. Just have, like, no.
What?
You have to go through the pain first. But the growth that comes, like, you learn from these experiences. You grow as a human. Like, you become a better human as a result of that work. And
I mean, I could get a little personal. Mine is having to deal with infidelity. And I think I am a completely different person after that experience. I love who I am after that experience. I think before it, I was extremely codependent, and which I think contributed to the demise of that relationship. And I had to fully understand and take responsibility and accountability for the role that I played in the relationship that led to that. Now, it doesn't mean that I deserved it. It doesn't mean that he wasn't wrong for, the choices that he made, but I can understand it. I can fully put myself in his shoes. I can understand that he did the best he could with the resources and the life that he was born into. And I decided to dedicate my career to helping others go through infidelity. And I think I do a pretty good job at it.
I feel similarly about like the reasons I got into this field,
Mhm.
right? Like whatever my experiences were,
Mhm.
I had to deal with, through.
Mhm.
Like people always ask me, why'd you become a therapist? And I was like, because I thought therapy was like magical when I went for it. You know what I mean? Like how this person was demonstrating insight into me and helping me understand myself and pointing out things I didn't see.
Right.
I was like, this is amazing to me. And I fell in love with it at that moment. And then, I've worked through a lot of my stuff. I'm not cured. I think we covered that last episode. I have issues still, right? But here we are. You know what I mean? Like I'm helping others. Hopefully. Yeah. Post-traumatic growth.
Beautiful ending to our episode.
All right, that's it for today's episode of Therapists Say. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you laughed, learned something, or at least realized you're not the only one with issues.
New episodes drop every 2 weeks, so hit follow and don't forget self-care.